him. What are your thoughts on President Obama's comment about no aliens at Area 51 and no lower levels either?
I said that here, what, 8 or 10 years ago. I have a friend who was a facility manager at Area 51, and I asked him, and he said he was responsible for absolutely every single structure within the confines of Area 51. Said we had a lot of weird things we have here, but we don't have any underground facility, and there are no aliens or UFOs at Area 51. And that's when I asked him, do you believe in UFOs? He said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. And that's why but they weren't at Area 51. Bob said he said that's 4. That's the other side of the Papoose Range, in the southwest corner of the Papoose Range.
Right.
And that's where the Mormon missionary, was looking for the trail of a lost Mormon tribe, and it went through that part of Area 51, and they were lost. I don't know if they were lost in Death Valley or wherever, but he tried every which way he could for religious reasons to try to get access to the southern part of Area 51, and they wouldn't allow it. And then he went over the other side and went over the fence at night at Mercury and walked in. And said the first night he was there, he's underneath an overhang, and he's looking east, and he's there's some twinkling lights, and there's some stuff way over here. It's not totally gone, but there's some life showing. All of a sudden, on the base of a mountain range, a base of a mountain. I don't know, it wasn't a range. It's just a complex of mountains, and it's called the Papoose Range. It was like someone opened a garage door, light. And I mean, it startled him. I think he'd gotten enough to water one of the cactus or something like that, and that's when he saw it. So next day when he woke up, he got his binoculars out and looked, and it was really early in the morning, so you weren't getting all the distortion from the heat,
right?
And there was nothing there. It went all the way down to the lake bed. A buddy of mine who was on the 117 program had some time off after Ridden Hours crashed, when they were trying to figure out what caused it to crash. Crashed on takeoff. The pitch and the yaws were reversed. So when you had pitch, you had yaw, and when you had yaw, you had pitch. And Ridden Hour actually cartwheel bounced, and I have some pictures of it. But they were bored. But they had clearance to be anywhere in the Nevada test site. And they're on a Humvee. They're in uniform, and they have their badges, and they're looking for artifacts from mining times. There was silver mining in the area. It was a Groom mine. They got silver out of there. So they were there about 20 minutes. They were looking around. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, no vehicle, out of nowhere, there was a half a dozen black uniformed military types with weapons drawn, saying, "What are you doing here? Let me see some identification. You don't belong here. You get the hell out of the area." He doesn't know where they came from. One thing that we've gotten really good at, again, is stealthizing physical structure, like runways and doors and buildings, where even if you're close to them, that you can't see where the door was or where they came. There was no vehicles involved. The only vehicle that was out there was the Humvee that they brought. And for these guys to show up out of nowhere, that really spooked the hell out of them. And I asked him, "Do you believe in UFOs?" He said, "Oh yeah." So, did you ever see any? He said, "No, we work nights. We work 12, 14-hour shifts."
But what about Bob Lazar? I mean, he saw things. You believe Bob?
Yes, I do. And I got my ass chewed out by a 2-star admiral when I was activated for Desert Shield and Desert Storm. when I had Bob's W-2 on me, and I was trying to find out Department of Navy that paid him where it was located. I was in the Pentagon direct, a computer directory. I was online, and that Department of the Navy didn't exist in the Pentagon directory. So I started. It was a down day news-wise, so I wandered around. I believe it was the Naval Investigative Services, and the door was open. Walked in. There was a young Lieutenant JG behind the desk. I'm in uniform. I'm a E6 at the time. I'm in my uniform. I have my ribbons, fresh haircut. I look sharp. And I said, "Sir, can you tell me where this place is located?" Department of Navy. He looks at it and says, "Sergeant, excuse me for a minute." He gets up. He walks into the 2-Stars office. He's in there about 15 seconds. Comes out and said, "The Admiral will see you now." Now, anybody know the relationship between Navy flag officers and enlisted pukes, especially if they're not Navy? It's even worse if you're in the Air Guard. At the time, I was with Minnesota Air Guard, and I go in there, and he's holding Bob's W-2, and his hand is shaking, and I go in there, I give him a sharp salute. He doesn't say at ease. He said parade rest. So I'm sitting rigid, parade rest. He said, "Sergeant, I don't know where you got this, but if I ever see your face pass through the threshold of my office ever again, you'll be the most sorriest son of a bitch an NCO in the United States military. Do you understand me, Sergeant?" I said, "Yes, sir." And said, with that, he said, "You're dismissed." And he gets Bob's W-2 and he puts it in the shredder.